Okay, go ahead. Tell me the story.
Okay, so 6 or 7 months ago, we decided to downsize because we knew that launching this business was going to take some money. So I ran the scenario across Brisa. Says, you know what? What if we went out and we bought one of those campers, one of those nice travel trailers, and we can use it. When we go to events, we can find campgrounds instead of spending $400 a night in a hotel. And she said, "Oh hell no, no way." So I said, okay. So then I'd say about 2 weeks later, I conveniently stopped by one of those little RV dealerships. I said, let's just go take a peek. And she goes, all right, let's go look. So we went and looked, and she fell in love. She says, oh my God, I could so do this. I could so do it.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing it.
Yeah.
We bought ourselves a brand new 28-foot trailer, and we parked it behind her mom's house and put some hookups and stuff. So when we need to go somewhere, we just pull the camper. We're saving money so we can launch this business. It was a big change.
It really wasn't for me because I'm used to living in small spaces. I used to live in New York City, and we had a little apartment, and then I moved to Santa Monica, Los Angeles. Small little apartment. So it was a studio apartment. So I'm used to living in small spaces. As a matter of fact, I loved it. And then I moved to California to where my family is from after I started recovering. And I got to the point where I can move out on my own. Well, my brother owned some properties and owned a apartment complex. And I moved into one of the apartments. And just to feel like I was on my own again and be, an adult again and doing things on my own again. And it was bigger than I ever expected. It was a big apartment. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, but I felt like it was huge compared to how I've lived in the past. Mm-hmm. Now we're back down to living tiny again, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. We actually, the house is almost 3,000 square feet, and we'd rather be in here than in there. Yeah. It's just it's our own little cozy, safe zone. We come in here, it's quiet. We can do work in here. It's perfect.
So we're pretty fortunate that my family is, pushing us forward and helping us, and they're right behind us. Like, you guys do you, and whatever you need, we're here. So they let us put the camper in their property, and we are able to take the trailer, or the camper, we call it the camper, to any location that we're going to speak at eventually. Like when we went to Susie Carter, we took it down there and we stayed at a KOA down there, and we're basically taking our office and our home with us wherever we go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Okay, let me get this thing officially started. But what a great intro. What a great intro. Everyone's like, who the heck are these wonderful people? Okay, everybody, welcome to Marriage Plus Business. I'm Jen.
I'm Renee.
And this is Brisa, Alfaro, and Jason Goss. And we met through Susie Carter and Lisa Nichols. We both attended Speak and Write to Make Millions. And then we are all part of the same tribe, and we were just recently on Susie Carter's Big Money Business Summit. And I've been watching these two for a while, and I was like, ooh, we have to have them on our show.
Yeah.
Because though you guys are not married, that's okay, because you two are doing business together, and you're together, and you're happy, and I can see a lot of love and partnership between you two. So I'm super excited to have you on. So thank you for coming and playing with us.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. This is totally casual. So this is everybody who watches, it's settle in, grab your drink, and just get to know some friends and learn.
Wonderful. So I'm saying, this is gonna light a fire under his butt to hurry up.
Brisa, they never tell They never are as fast as we want them to, but they do come through.
Don't be surprised if we're sitting here next year and it's a little bit different.
Okay. We should tell them about the promise painting and everything like
So talking about how we got together, well, we got together in dance class, but to forward to how we set up our eventually we proposal and getting married and setting up all that. We spent a day out and about around in our area, which up in Monterey County, Central Coast, California, technically. Northern California, if you're from LA, Um, but we spent time up in Big Sur, did all these cool outdoor sightseeing, went to go eat, and then we come back. And basically, what I did was I ended up proposing, where we initially met, which is in Pacific Grove near a beach down there. And
that.
so,
Lovers Point.
That's
so
awesome.
setting up the stage, yeah, Lover's Point. What I ended up doing was I got a promise ring because like what Jen said earlier, we never go as fast as the girls want us to. So I said, well, okay.
But I didn't know this. I didn't know his plan. So
she's like, okay, well, can how did you bring up the term promise? Because I can tell you what I did, but once she came up with it.
All right, it was a challenge you couldn't refuse. So Renee's an artist. He's a very talented comic book artist, graphic designer. He's just a bag of chips, right? And he's good looking too, and he dances with me. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, he was taking longer than I expected him to. And I knew that he loved an art challenge. So you have to go get it now. And so I said, Renee, paint me a promise. And I didn't know this, but he already had he wanted to do the promise ring first, then the engagement ring, and then the wedding ring. But I didn't know this. So I was like, can you paint me a promise? So he did. And then he set the ring on top of it when he
Ooh, nice.
Oh, how cute!
Nice.
And so the ring is like stashed somewhere in the back of it's in a special location, but it matches the color. It's aquamarine and it matches the color of the promise.
How cool is that?
You painted that? That's beautiful.
Thank you, and that's outstanding.
You are talented.
You know
wow.
what? I tell you what it is, Jennifer. You know what it is? Why we tend to take so long is because there has to be a bunch of thought put behind it. You can't just say, "Here, will you marry me?" No, I mean you have to put a bunch of thought behind it, and us men don't tend to think like that, so it takes that long to come up with an idea to do something like that. That's great.
Sure, yeah, great way to put that. I think it's true because, I'm an artist and I can be so narrow in my scope and approach, especially as an artist, because I'm focusing on this art piece. But then she turned it into like an art challenge, right?
He couldn't
So
resist.
then it was like it was just even all that. So yeah, that's what it was. So I mean, and then there was the engagement ring, which was another unveiling or presentation, and eventually our wedding. This painting was on the back. It says it was painted on May 29th, and we were married 7/17 that same year.
We're coming up on our 10-year wedding anniversary.
So we didn't waste time, conversely. So there was no year.
Well, it was 2010. We were in the middle of that recession, as you guys probably well remember.
Yeah.
Nobody had any money, and we just knew that the shorter. Oh, here's some advice. As if you guys need advice. Come on. Anyway.
Oh, come on, we do.
The longer you set out your wedding date, the more expensive that wedding carousel gets. Like the longer you have, it's like, oh, we need this. Oh, we need this. Oh, we need this. So we got engaged. Actually, we got short. The promise painting was in May. You actually asked me to marry you on June 13th, which was 3 days after your birthday, and then we were married a month and 4 days later. But what was cool was that we had all of our friends just help us with the wedding. So a friend was in charge of the bouquet, another friend was in charge of the food, another friend was in charge of checking people in. We got a crew of we got married in the ballroom that we met at, And so we had 4 kids who were pretty much the cleanup crew and the setup crew. And then their pay was like half of the wedding cake because we got too much cake.
If you look up Renee and Jennifer on YouTube, West Coast Swing, you'll find our very first dance.
Our
as a
wedding
married
dance,
couple.
yeah.
That's cool.
Cute.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome. What a beautiful story.
Well, I love the idea. I love the painting, and thank you for setting the bar. I'm gonna have to.
There's so many ideas. Just
That's okay. There are things that we can't do. We can't build houses. We are not construction people. See, we don't have the ability to get. Well, I mean, we could have the ability to go get ourselves a trailer, but we have to have a dance floor, which is why we converted our garage into a dance studio.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
This is going to be so much fun. We're going to have a great time. Okay, so pretty much everyone now knows now how we know each other. But tell us a little bit about what businesses are you both in? What are you doing separately and together? And like, how is it to be dating and going through all this massive change in your life and transitioning as a couple?
You want to start?
Okay, you start.
Okay, so I am in the water industry, or I was in the water industry for the past 15 years. I've been in the water industry, working at a water treatment facility. Had no idea about this type of business.
Which water treatment?
Okay, so drinking water treatment. That's what I've done, for the past 15 years. And before that, I was into heavy equipment. I had a heavy equipment company. So,
But I call him a water scientist.
this type of business was never something that I thought that I would be into or even a part of. And then, me and Brisa started dating, and she introduced me to Susie Carter, to Lisa Nichols, and and speaking and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, that seems pretty interesting, but yeah, that's not for me. And then I went to my first Lisa Nichols event, and that did it. She broke me down, and I've been a part of it ever since. And I'm no longer in the water industry, and I'm going full force with Brisa now. So I'm transitioning into something completely new, something completely unknown, and I'm all for it.
He's so good at it.
Honestly, six months ago, I wouldn't be able to be in front of this camera talking to people. I was so shy, just so afraid to be in front of a camera, and now it's like it's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing.
Really? I
Yeah.
never would have guessed.
Oh
that.
yeah.
Ever.
Jennifer, honestly, it surprised me as we progressed in this business, because when I first introduced it to him, he was very supportive and was like, well, I'll support you in the business, but I'm not gonna do the things you do. And I was very surprised when we were in different groups where he would have to share testimonials or share his opinion or anything like that. I would cringe and think, oh God, they're asking him something.
And Lisa's exercises, she's talking about.
Like Lisa or Susie or whoever. And I thought, oh gosh, they're asking him something. And I knew he didn't want to answer. And little by little, he just would. The first time, he didn't want to. The first time he tried to get up and walk out of the room, and Lisa saw him on stage and called him out, and she was like, Jason, get back over here. Get in a group. So that was the first time. And then after that, it just became he became more and more open to it. And so now when Susie calls on him, or we're in a group setting and it's our turn to talk, he's the first to start. I never expected that. I never expected him to be open to publicly speaking and sharing, our journey together. And he just is such a natural. And now I just want to let go, give him the reins whenever the option. Well, you saw just right now, you asked who wants to go first. I gave it to him, and he took it, no problem. So yeah, it's a good combo.
You're watching
Yeah.
him spreading his wings and fly. And Brisa, tell us a little bit about what it is that you're doing in the business that you're doing, because it's pretty remarkable.
Thank you. So, well, I have to start with what happened first before I started on this journey. About 6 years ago, I suffered a stroke and I developed something called locked in syndrome, where I was essentially locked in my own body and I was unable to communicate with the outside world. The doctors called my family to the hospital and they prescribed my fate, which was a less than 1% chance to survive. My family gathered around me and spoke nothing but positivity and did not let me succumb to that fate. One thing that my mom did was play the audiobook, The Secret. And I learned through listening to that I had the power within myself to change my own destiny. Regardless on what the outside world thinks, I had the power within me. So I focused all of my energy, every thought I had was positive and healing. And I never doubted that I was going to be okay. I just wondered when it was going to happen. And of course, I had those natural thoughts, but I never doubted. I knew I was going to be okay. And because I did know that, I became that. So it didn't happen overnight. It was baby steps. I call it pinky moves because while I was in the locked in state, um, the doctors and my family and everyone was gathered around my bed asking me to show a sign as they did many times before. However, that time I had enough energy to show them a sign, and that sign first came to everyone as a slight pinky move. And I flickered my
She flickered
pinky.
her pinky.
And because that flicker of a pinky, I mean, it sent everyone into like cheers, like everyone was crying. It was a little tiny baby step into my recovery. It was the first moment that my family, the doctors, the nurses, everyone around saw that I was still inside of my body. I was still fighting to come to life. And a lot of times we think that we need to move mountains in order to get people to understand what we're trying to do, but we don't have to do that. We just have to move our pinky.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to do a baby step. And so that baby step gave everyone the I'm sorry, I also have aphasia, which is a memory loss for words.
You're fine.
But yeah, it gave everyone the ability to believe that something is possible, that this right here is possible. So everyone rallied around me and would cheer me on in my recovery. And because of that, I was able to focus more on the things that I could do versus the things that I couldn't, because I was constantly receiving that gratification of people cheering me on every time I did something great. So I did more great things. But my great things were tiny little baby micro moves, and those things were celebrated. So whether it be, I mean, I walking on my own was a big feat, but breathing on my own was even bigger. So
Wow.
little things like that, I focused on and celebrated, and my family and everyone celebrated with me. And that's the reason that I'm standing here today speaking to you guys, because I was able to focus on those things. So now my journey and our journey has led us to the point where we want to be able to express that to other people so they could see the benefits in celebrating your micro wins, your pinky moves, and also thinking about whatever you focus on grows, right? So if you focus on the negativity, you will receive more of that. So our campaign focuses on no more bad days, because that's something that I had to celebrate. I celebrated. I could have bad moments in my day, but I knew it wasn't going to be my whole day. I let that be a moment. Then I moved on and I celebrated the rest of my day. I had a beautiful day that I got to live. So that's one of our campaigns. And then the other, you want to tell them about?
The other campaign slash brand is Be Greater, and that stems from pretty much everything that Brisa just said, along with kind of, it aligns with my story as well. But we want everybody to, focus on no more bad days, focus on being greater, and releasing all negative thought and just manifesting positivity in your life to make everything come true. So be greater and no more bad days. That's our two campaigns.
And recently we just did we have a new campaign that's also a part of Be Greater, and it's an equation. And this equation helps you think a little bit. And
let me show you.
Okay, I gotta show this to everybody. Renee, I saw their T-shirts. This is so slick. You guys have to explain this, because when I looked at it, I was like, okay, that's intimidating. But when you explained it, it's really cool.
Oh, wow.
So basically,
this is our logo, Be Greater, right here.
Yeah.
Go for it, baby.
Subtract, division, multiply, equality. Be greater.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? Subtract division.
That is so cool.
Multiply equality and be greater. Isn't that fun? That's so smart.
So awesome.
That's slick. Okay, who came up with that? Because that's pretty cool.
Brisa came up with that on a napkin. She was
awesome.
sitting there
That's
and
awesome.
she's doodling, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then she shows me this picture, and I'm like, wow, you know what? That is so perfect. That is so perfect. So we drove down to our local printer here and started printing T-shirts, and it is literally taken off.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, they're going out all over the place.
And that also stems from your belief system. So when you believe something will be great, it will be. And I believe when we created this, it was going to be great. I had no doubt it was going to be great. And when we put it together and we mapped it out and we drew it and we started talking about all the people it could affect, and I mean everyone across the board, because as a stroke survivor, there is division. There is, as a man or a woman or a gay man or a straight man or a black man or a white man or a woman or a man, like everywhere there is division. And that's why my message, I wanted to reach out. Yes, there is division, but be greater. Just take that away, take the division away from the equation, and you got to be greater.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a beautiful moment that Jason and I were sharing when all of this chaos was going around in the world, and we had just came back inside from watching something go on in the news, and it was hurting my heart, and I was feeling like, God, there's got to be, I feel we're all being pulled away in all these different directions, and it just was bothering me. And I was telling him, I just want everybody to love each other and to realize that we can be greater than all of this negativity that is around us, is surrounding us. And that's when I started drawing, and I mean, not like you, but but I was drawing.
Brilliant. We all have our brilliance, Brisa. There's no comparison.
And also to, being part of Susie's tribe. I mean, Helise Bridges. We've heard Helise speak a few times. We've been to a couple events where Helise was there, and her message and her campaign, every single time that we hear it, is just so, it touches your heart. Almost brings tears to your eyes on what she's doing for kids or what she's doing for people all around the world.
In general, yeah.
So this campaign that we've got,
it's like the blue ribbon of excellence, like
blue ribbon campaign.
Right. just
Who I
recognizing people and showing them and looking them in their eyes and telling them, you know what, you make
who
a
I am,
difference. You make a
you make a
difference.
difference.
So we're contacting Halise. We've been in contact with her, and we want to donate a portion of our campaign, our sales, to her campaign, just because we feel like what she's doing in the world makes a difference.
Yeah.
That's be greater. That's an example of being greater.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That
Oh
is
my gosh.
really awesome. Yeah, I love these stories.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Your origin story.
So isn't it cool to have t-shirts made and to do that whole printing thing? Renee has done some of that with his art as well, and it's quite the process. So what is your process? You said you do this with a local printer, or are you outsourcing it to something like Cafe Press or
Right now, it's local.
Yeah, we're in the beginning stages. So I mean, luckily we have a printer that's like a mile away, and they can do up to 250 shirts per order. So that's kind of cool.
We're already going through them, though.
We're starting a website. We're in the middle of creating a website. You know, we're going to have it online. We're going to have some influencers help us market it, get it out there, get the message out there. It's been a cluster this past week because we're trying to get everything together. You know, we started out just doing PayPal and Venmo on, on Facebook and
We're
IGs.
realizing that it's really turning into a business now, and we have, it's not just extra money, side money, to help propel us forward. It really
It could be a
is
revenue
business.
stream, a nice revenue stream, just to, a little money coming in on the side, while we can focus on
The,
speaking engagements and workshops and stuff like that.
the main thing is the message. I mean, if something can stem from the t-shirts and the message can go elsewhere and the message will be talked about, that's what I really wanted. So it's a conversation. It's starting a conversation, and that's what I envisioned. And maybe it's a t-shirt now, but who knows what it'll be later.
Mhm.
it could be a whole lifestyle. Like life is good. My gosh, t-shirts, sweatpants, water bottles, socks. I
Yeah.
purchased all of those, right?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
philosophy, right? Yeah, it's a
Right.
it's a lifestyle.
But yeah, it's really cool that you've started something like that. Renee, share with them what you've done with your art and how you've given like the full product palette.
Well, I do a thing where I do print on demand. So if you're not familiar, if you are, then you know what that is. But basically, I don't have to inventory anything because it's already it's set up to a point where the place, like your printer, they do the fulfillment. They do the stocking. There's nothing really to stock because when an order comes in, that's when they produce it. And I'm still growing that. It's still very small. I've got a few orders here and there. But like since we're dancers, I do these shoe bags, which is like a drawstring bag.
Mhm.
So I have my artwork, which I've created just once, and then it can be put on multiple
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have to
Flip-flop
make,
shirts,
yeah.
shoe bags, phone cases. It's really, but here's the thing. Renee makes the most sales when he actually has them made and then brings them with us to different events where our friends can go. Oh, can you go? Can you go?
Right.
Do we
Yeah.
have a few?
Yeah.
We'll show you what he made. But like it's so interesting because I'm just going to tell you from our perspective, it's good that you guys have a local printer and it's good that you do it in bulk because you're forced to go out and hustle and
Right.
sell. Because
Right.
when you have them all online, it's easy to get a little on the lazier side. I'm not indicating that Renee is lazy at all, but what I'm saying is that because you don't have inventory taking up your garage and you're not staring at it every damn day, you don't push it as hard. So in some ways, it's a blessing that you have to do a bulk printout in
Yep.
order to do it, because then it's like, all right, same thing with my books. When I have a whole bunch of these printed up and they're sitting on my counter and I'm staring at them like, yeah, I got to move those books. Then I go out and I hustle. But when I don't see them and I've sold them all and I only have one and I'm not worried about they
Right.
don't I sell them online. So here you go. Here's Renee's stuff. It's just, you know what? This is just so much fun. It's like, this isn't meant to be a commercial. It's just so much fun to share with other creatives what
Oh, that's
is going on and
awesome.
how we're doing. Yeah, so that's one of them. She's
right.
enormously popular. She kind of yeah. So like yeah, you have like the drawstring.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen these little drawstrings.
Yeah.
Yours. Oh, this is a gator. This is a neck gator
This
that
is
we
a
had
neck
made.
gator. So if
So when we're
you,
walking around with our masks on,
yeah, so this kind of goes on. Your hand can go through it, but
it's
you
a
can
great
you can
headband
wear
too.
it through and basically,
Awesome.
yeah, we're all under these
Yeah,
borders
Yeah.
and whatnot. So these are a couple of projects I've done that are all print on
I
demand.
love this one.
And I like bright colors. I'm a fantasy artist, is what I like doing. So I create all
Awesome.
these colors. So yeah, just stuff I've been doing ever since I've been a kid.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like all the products that I make,
We would use ourselves. So there's a
and if you've seen those large,
a gaming. So instead of a mouse pad, a game pad.
but I use this as a mouse pad because when I draw, this is what I put my stuff on. So all the products I make, like I use them,
He's even
Right.
got flip.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
all
cool.
print on demand. You don't have to order, 1,000, even 200 is a quantity.
Yeah.
We did talk to a couple of vendors about that, or even friends that were are involved in sales like that, and they're kind of talking us into since we're just starting out to keep it how we're doing it until volume starts going up, and once volume starts going up, then it would make a lot more sense to do that. So we'll see. I think we're going to run with it for a while the way we're doing it. Like you said, it's going to force us to push,
Yeah.
push.
Yeah.
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 So we'll
and
take
the,
we'll take a day out of the week and ship like one day out of the week. Hey, we're shipping on Fridays, so we'll ship all the orders out on a Friday or something.
yeah, that's awesome. Thinking what you guys are doing
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah, for sure. And you could have an Etsy store, and
Yeah.
Renee has a Patreon. How does that work?
The Patreon is something different. A Patreon is basically a subscription service for people to
Subscription service.
service. It's essentially a membership type of deal, and a Patreon really is just a payment processor when you were to really look at what it is that they do.
So if there's an artist or if there's a team that you believe in and you want to get their art
Support.
or whatever you want to support them by giving them $25 a month or $50 a month or whatever.
Or like even $5 a month, and then there are tiers. People giving you $5 a month get
Something.
ABC. People giving 10 get A B C D E F.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that might be something you guys want to look into. There are so many different options as far as
We're so lost. Like we're coming into this brand new and we're trying to figure everything out. And we have all these ideas and people are throwing ideas at us, and we're like, keep throwing those ideas because we need all the help we can get right now. And it's coming together though. We're making moves. The ball's rolling. We're doing some things. Peaky moves. Consistent peaky moves. They got to be consistent. Consistency is key.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Baby steps and slow growth are a smart way to develop a business. Yeah. And also too, it is like drinking from a fire hose because you don't know what you don't know. And Renee, we're very lucky. He was working at a printing company, so he knows all about the printing for many, many years. He was there for like 20 something years. And then the beginning of 2019 was when it was like, all right, Rockstar Marketing is sustainable. You're welcome to quit your job. You can work for me part-time, and then you can do your art. So we did that in 2019, and I'm so glad that we did that in 2019 versus starting 2020 with you doing that. That would have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though he's been doing it for a year, doing his art, creating these wonderful products, all these things, still at this moment, it will get better. But like he's having a lot of commercial clients. He's had a lot of my clients say, oh, I need graphic design. I need this. I need a video made. I need various things. And so we've been keeping him fed and sustaining, because like what was the first thing to suffer when economics collapse? Yeah, art, like, even our dance business, we haven't been able to do anything with our dance business since March because nobody's dancing, but that's okay because we have the real job,
Right.
that keeps going. Yeah. Wow. So I'm kind of curious. Okay, indulge me in this answer. Okay, you guys have known each other for a long time, and you can kind of give everybody an overview as to how long you guys have known each other, because you guys were teenagers. But what have you discovered about each other in your journey of working together and living together in this last year?
She's OCD. OCD. If
Each
if if
every
the closet door is this much open, she will get up and close that closet door, and I'm like, really, really?
I,
So then I'll get up and I'll go open it a little bit.
He says it's good for your OCD. I'm like, that's mean.
oh. What else
But,
have you discovered? That's funny.
No,
yeah.
I think it's cute. I think it's great. But it can hinder some things every once in a while. Especially business wise, because if it's not perfect, she won't do it.
I won't release it.
And
so
she needs to just release things and go for it.
this is a perfect example. Like I've been writing my book, and I have not released it because I'm a perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to have him on my side because he'll read it and he'll say it's, of course, because I think it's him, he's going to tell me it's great. But it's not that. He's telling me, like, Brisa, you need to release it. You need to not be a perfectionist. This is your first book. You just need to release it. And that's with a lot of things in my life that I've had to learn to release. Like when we moved in the camper, in my previous apartment, was a perfectionist. So every day I would do my bed, and it was perfect. No wrinkles. It was perfect. Well, in the camper, it's tight quarters, and it's really hard to make it perfect. And and I think that has helped me the most, not being able to make it perfect. Make it just enough. Just enough. I mean, I'm not doing a quality job. I'm just doing the best I can. And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize. Like, you don't have to do it perfect. You just have to do it the best you can. And I think that if you do it the best you can release more great in the world. But yeah.
I think the bed situation was even harder to release than the 75 pairs of shoes that she had to release when we moved into the camper.
I was gonna say, perfect. I've discovered in the last year, finished, not perfect.
Yes.
You're always find that you can polish something to no end, really. If you look at something like
you can polish something so hard that the paint comes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I noticed that when I was editing parts of my book, I would change things up and things up, and I just kept doing it over and over and over, and then finally I lost my point.
Well, she was editing and editing and editing, and I said, Brisa, you realize we're sending this to an editor, right? So then we sent it to the editor, and she sent it back. She was like, well, I really didn't have to change much.
Yeah.
And then when we got it back, she was still looking over it like,
I totally relate to you on that one. I'm a professional writer. That's what I do in marketing. And I could write something, I'll be like, yeah, that's pretty good. And then I'll look at it like a day later, a week later, 6 months later, I'll be like, ugh, I need to change it. So really, it's a very subjective thing. One of the things that I tell my clients and I don't know if this will help you or not, but like this is just something that keep this in mind. If you ask the authors of the most revered classics in Western culture, none of the authors thought that those works of communication, those books, were perfect. They wanted to go in and change it some more. And yet the population thinks that they're classics and they're perfect in every way.
Yeah.
The other
Wow.
thing I tell my clients is that, especially for like, depending on the purpose of what it is that you're writing, like, ad copy has a different style from like a personal memoir, which has a different style, a marketing blog to, like everything has its own,
Fiction.
it has its own voice. And I have to remind my clients, especially when we're writing SEO content for their websites, it's like, this is not going to read like the great American novel. This has two audiences of readers: one, human beings, and two, Google search bots.
Yeah.
And you have to write for both audiences in mind. So I just tell them, look, it's like I'm a winemaker and I'm making a Chardonnay, but it may not be the Chardonnay that you think is perfect, but it's still a very good Chardonnay. It's just that your
Right.
subjective
Oh,
might
that's a
think,
good analogy.
yeah.
That's great.
So it's just not your Chardonnay. That's okay.
Not my Chardonnay. Nope.
I'm an 805 kind of guy myself. First.
Yeah. Okay. So I said that about you. I want to know what about you?
What about me? What?
Yeah.
What
Since
have you
we've been.
discovered about Jason in the
Yeah.
time working with him and living with him and all that fun stuff?
He. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm just kidding. No. I think this is what I discovered about him. Jason does not like to disagree with me. Mm-mm. He is the ultimate partner because he truly listens to everything that is going on in my crazy brain. Because I will talk and talk and talk and talk, and sometimes I talk things out in my brain, like I'm figuring things out, but it's easier if I voice it. And so whether it be wrong or whether it be right, he just listens. Whether or not he's retaining anything I'm saying, I don't know, because sometimes I'm like, right? I'll ask him, right? And he'll say, yeah. And I'm like, are you even listening? So I'll say some random thing and he'll say, wait, what? And I'm like, I knew it. You weren't listening. So that's the only thing. But yeah, other than that, I don't. Oh, he has one speed. One speed. So when he's getting ready and we're in a rush, he has speed 1, and that's it. I'm like, we gotta hurry. Okay. And he's like, do 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 do. I'm like, all right. 1 speed. That's it.
It's the knowledge that keeps the knowledge of that will allow you to plan.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's, no, you're right. It's so important to be each other's biggest cheerleaders and supporters, and to still appreciate each other when you have your differences. I mean, Renee is Mr. Calm and cool and collected, and I am not.
That's
Thank
kind of that's the exact same thing on this end. Exact. Yeah.
I'm kind of dramatic.
And
Don't
that's
tell me every once in a while, like, and the Oscar goes to, I'm like, okay. I get it. Okay, I get it.
But she's so cute. I mean, it's
Wine.
okay. It's
A little
okay.
wine. There's some cheese with that wine.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Want some cheese, honey?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, too,
And then
give yourselves credit. There is, when you're in your first year of living together, let alone in a camper, parked behind your mom's house. Like just normal living situations. The first year of living together is challenging because you're establishing boundaries. I will do this. I won't do this. I want that door closed. I
Yeah.
want bed made perfectly. We all have our things, and it's that dance. It's that figuring out, oh, okay, I mean, Renee is 99% perfect, and then like he accidentally throws my butter into the fridge, and I'm like, I wanted it room temperature. Of course, such a non sweet about it. Sorry, honey, I'll fix it. And I was like, okay. But yeah, I mean, like, you figure each other out, and it's like,
Yeah.
when he's super quiet in his room and doing art, I try not to. Sometimes I can't help it because I'm the talker too, Brisa. You're not alone. But like I try to come in quietly to his room because oftentimes he's recording what he's drawing. And he may not be speaking, but that camera's going, and I don't want to be like, oh, hey, what's up? Did you hear my fart?
That's funny. No, but you know what? It's funny because a lot of times people ask us, do we argue a lot? Because we are new and we are living in very close quarters, that you were saying, the little camper. But I don't know. I think maybe we're weird. I don't know. But we don't really argue. We don't really have.
We've never had a fight. We've never had an argument. We've been together like literally every day for the past almost year and a half, and we have never had an issue. I want to be with her. She said, she wants to be with me, so we don't. We would rather be together than out somewhere else, with my
Else.
boys or her friends. We would rather be together.
So I think a lot of times people want to ask you, and they want to know what are the bad. What is the thing that, not like the cutesy thing, like what you just addressed, but like the bad. They want to know the bad because it couldn't possibly be so good, right?
We get this all the time.
Why?
What do you do that makes it work? I accept him 100% the way he is, and I love him as he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
it.
It's interesting because like whoever asks that question, you almost have to take a look at them silently, not trying to project.
Right. No, totally.
Yeah, but I know where you're going with that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because and I almost sometimes feel guilty, like, well,
Could be
no. You're doing that. But here's the thing, like,
you don't have to. And that's okay, because it just goes to show COVID in particular has really demonstrated unhappy because people are literally dying to get out of their houses because they want to be there, because they recognize that being with that person 24/7 is just not. And so we're seeing a lot of other systemic issues because the confines of the home are so restrictive to their spirit. And I get it. Right? So yeah, I mean, Renee and I, in the time of COVID, we've been working hard, staying isolated, not doing dancing. The people that we do socialize with, we still wear a mask. It's usually neighbors. Like, hey, neighbor, what's going on? Like, seriously, like, I think the only time we have traveled was to go up to Pleasanton, like an hour and a half drive, to get some paperwork signed with our attorney we were doing estate planning. And I was so nervous about driving because I didn't know where I was going to go pee because everything was closed down.
No, it's true.
Yeah, I don't have a camper in the back of my Mini Cooper. I just don't. You have
a Mini Cooper? That's my favorite car.
Yes, I have a Mini Cooper Countryman, which is the Maxi Mini.
Yes, the little two-door. I love that on the back.
It's our equipment for the dance business. Yeah,
I think it's so cute. It zips around.
Oh, it's like an adult go-kart. It's awesome car.
It's so cute.
That's awesome.
But to go with that topic we were just saying, I think couples need to be more understanding and forgiving. I think if we enter a relationship and continue on a relationship, um, forgiving and kind of not expecting so much. So, what I mean by that is like, I'm not gonna be get so worked up over something like he left the toilet seat up. I don't care. That's not a fight for me. It's not an argument. I'm just as he's not gonna do the same for me leaving. I always leave my makeup drawer open, and he like trips on it every time, and he never calls me out on it. He never, and I know it annoys him, but he doesn't call me out. That's what I mean about like having a little bit more patience and understanding on what is this moment before you say it, before you say what you're about to call him or her out on. Is it worth that battle?
Right.
Because some battles are not worth fighting. Some battles are just not worth paying any energy to it. I mean, there are so many beautiful things that he does for me. So why am I going to focus any energy on the fact that he left the toilet seat up? I mean, really?
See, and that goes to our whole thing that we're, our whole movements that we're pushing, is focus on positive energy and release all the negative, and that's what we do. There is no need to focus on anything negative when we have so much positive to focus on.
Yeah. So there are, I'm sure, times that I get on his nerves, and and he'll be kind of quiet, and of course, like I'm like a chihuahua, and I'm like, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? And he probably just needs a break from me. but either way, he doesn't lose his temper and get crazy with me, because it's just going to make it worse, right? So I also need to understand my place, and okay, he needs a little break. I'm going to back off a little and let him. You got to know who you're dealing with, right? So I know his personality. I know when he becomes quiet, there's a little bit that I can push a little bit, and then and then he will never yell at me. He will never be short with me. But I can tell when there is something there, and I could kind of gauge it. And I'll step back a little, let him marinate in that for a minute. But after a while, just like my brand, No More Bad Days, it's all about a moment. So I'll remind him, are you over your moment? He'll do the same for me. He'll tell me, remind me that this is just a moment. That moment will pass. And now it's time to enjoy the rest of our day. So whatever it was that was going on, I'm going to let you marinate in that for a while. Then you need to snap out of it, and we're going to go on with our beautiful day.
Yeah.
And I think that's helped us in our relationship, like all this whole time. So
That is real.
I think to kind of boil that down, it kind of comes down to knowing the person, like you're saying, Brisa. And it comes down to the fact that some are more expressive and more talkative, and some are more they just need to be quiet. Like when someone's quiet and they're having a bad day, sometimes there's nothing you can really tell them other than just to sit there and have a bad day with them.
yeah.
Right? It's almost like you're not going to cheer them up by doing this. And
He always
it's
makes
almost
me laugh,
like
his secret superpower is he makes me belly laugh every single day.
That's great. That's great.
That's
You have to laugh. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to react or how not to react, and knowing what is that time that to where like, okay, we're both here, no matter what we had, we're level again. So you can then talk.
And that's important to understand too, because just like you were saying, she could be on a different level than you are at different times. And that's key thing you said, coming together on those times and really focusing when you come together and not focus when you guys are on different frequencies. Focus the positive when you're on the same frequency. And I think that's what happens when couples start to argue, is because they're both on different frequencies, and one will start saying, well, why are you on my level? Why are you not here? I mean, I'm so upset. Why are you not upset? Well, I'm not upset. Or I'm so happy. How come you're not happy? I don't know. I'm just not there right now. So I think you have to accept where the other person is at, and maybe sometimes make it a note or an how do you say that, a point to meet them in the middle. And I think that will do a lot.
I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna call out all of the men, because 90% of us men do not listen to our women enough, and I truly hear what they're saying. You know, I think that's our problem across the board, is that we just no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And if we actually sat down and listened to our women, everything would change. That's something that I've learned over the years of becoming who I am today, is if you actually truly listen to your woman and take in everything that she's saying, and show her that you're listening to her, everything changes. Be greater.
There you go.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Brisa. We won the lottery of love, girl. We both did. You and I won the lottery of love. I'm pointing to your man. You can't see me pointing to your man, but in my screen, there he is. And here's my man. Like, seriously, to find your perfect fit is to find someone that you 100% accept and love and appreciate exactly who they are for what they are. I myself have been very, very guilty in my younger years. Oh, this guy would be perfect if I could just make him do this, 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 and this.
Oh my gosh, amen.
That's not fair. That's not fair to go into a relationship. But we're young and dumb and broke. Young, dumb, and broke. What is that song? Young, dumb, broke. Anyway, the point is that we think that we can change people, and it's like, well, hold on. Why should anyone change for you? Why not accept them who they are? There are wonderful people in the sea. It's like Renee is my dream marriage. I had to have my starter marriage to appreciate the dream marriage.
Right.
And I recognized that when I was 23 years old, I would have looked at him and been like, nah, you don't make enough money for me. But then when I met him when I was 36, I was like, oh, hello, you're cute, you dance, and you have a stable job. Yay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
No, that's so true, Jennifer, what you were saying, because both Jason and I have, of course, we've had a past, and I've never really settled down to the point where I'm like so happy with being myself. I've always wanted to date someone, maybe, like out of my league, and what I thought was out of my league. But then when I would date that person, that what I thought was out of my league, I was not being my authentic self. I was being who I thought they wanted me to be.
There you go.
But I was not me. So now I can be me. I could, with all of my baggage, with all of everything, and Jason and all of his baggage, and we're okay with it. I mean, everyone's got a history. I've got a history. He's got I thought for a long time after my stroke, who's going to want me anymore? I mean, I'm at that time, I was 32 when I had my stroke. So years of my recovery, I was in my late 30s and thinking, all of my friends are getting married and having babies, and I'm over here trying to recover and walk again. And when I would go on a date, that first question, they would ask me about my scar and say, well, what happened there? And I would cringe and think, oh God, I got to tell them. I don't want to lie. I have to tell him. So as soon as I told them that's like not just a strike against me, that's like all against me. Like they're like, okay, that's last dates. Like she's a nice girl, but that's about it. Like they don't want to put that. They don't want to put any effort into something that they don't know where it could possibly go. So I would get questions like, well, are you gonna have another one? I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna have another one. But do you want to, like me for who I am now? Maybe. I don't know. And with Jason, it wasn't like that. He knew, because we've known each other for so long. He knew about my past, and he was okay with it. So it was refreshing to go on a date with someone and not have to explain my past, not have to explain what happened here, not have to explain all of the things that I had to live through. I actually had a conversation about me and the things that I liked, and a regular date kind of stuff, and I was blown away. It made me feel good. And I don't
Yay.
even know if I knew that, but it was something that I was craving, and I didn't know that I was craving it. I thought I was craving normalcy. Thought I was craving to be, I just wanted to look normal. And that's the reason I work so hard on my physical self. However, I was still working on my mental and my brain and my memory and all the things that come along with the stroke. So here I am physically 100% better, but I'm sitting in front of a man that doesn't realize I'm not 100% inside, but he looks at me like, well, you look normal. And so I was constantly in this journey for normalcy, when I now realize, because Jason has helped me accept, it's okay not to be normal.
No, you are normal, and that's the thing that everything that she went through. I knew Brisa before she had her stroke. I knew Brisa. I was following her journey when she had it, and even her journey afterwards. And even after her stroke and her recovery, she was still the same Brisa to me. She was still that same beautiful girl that I knew in high school, the same one that that I'd seen throughout the years and talked to throughout the years. So everything that she was dealing with, her recovery, she was still the same person to me. She was just battling for some things that she needed to get better at, and I never saw any difference, of who she was just because she had a stroke. So that's the way I saw it. Is she was always, or she is always, that same person, and she is normal. This is her new normal. She's not any different.
Say your normal, actually, honey, is extraordinary. So don't be normal.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Right? And Jason sees that clearly, right?
Oh, yeah.
He jumped on the Brisa train. It's all good.
Yeah.
He helps me do that all the time.
It is exciting though when you find your perfect fit, and you're right. What's really interesting too is that we have discovered, or maybe I have discovered. I don't know if Renee ever really noticed it before, but like when I was in the first marriage and I was unhappy in my marriage, I found all the people who were also unhappy in their marriage.
Yeah.
When I got into an incredibly happy marriage relationship, and here we are about to celebrate 10 years married, 13 years together, and we still act like newlyweds, and it's great. And guess what? We attract other happy couples. Like there's tons of them. Stephen and Sanji, Millet.
Yes.
Right? Other folks. John and Esther Graham. Other folks that you guys have known, and then others that you don't, that we know through the dance world, who are just like super happy. And yeah, you're absolutely right. We all have a certain frequency that we resonate on, and we all attract that. So that's why I knew I had to talk to you.
Yeah, you're so right. That's so amazing. I mean, you realize once you learn how to let things go and find who you truly are, and you find your perfect person, you sense and you notice other people and that negative energy, like, no, I don't need that in my life. And I think that's it, is once you sense that, okay, no, I'm not letting that back into my life. I'm not doing that. And you find, other people that align with you, and you're right, you just get drawn to each other. That's amazing. John and Esther, they're amazing.
I think
Sanjay, Stephen, they are amazing also. And you guys, this is great.
Yeah.
fun.
Good.
It's fun. But okay, so I'm just kind of curious. All right, so you've got your movement that you're doing, you've got all the things that you're going to be doing, promoting your shirts and speaking. If you could give us 3 tips on how to be greater, what would they be? I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just like curious.
That's okay. You just have to deal with my delayed brain. But so 3 tips on being greater. Release perfection.
Release perfection. That's good.
One of my first ones. What about you?
I would say, you're gonna face times when negativity comes into your mind. I would say learn how to, like Brisa said earlier, just don't let that negativity
Take over.
and soak in your mind all day. Be able to release that and focus on the rest of the day and all the positive things throughout the day.
That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Good one.
And the last one, I would say, gosh, there's so many.
I know, right? Thank goodness there's so many,
Okay.
so few.
I think whenever, and it goes back to my other saying, no more bad days. When you come across a bad moment, a bad person, a bad situation, a bad, what you call bad day, or what other people would call a bad day, realize that it's a moment. And it takes you to shift that perception of that moment to realize that that moment is over and you have to be greater. So when you have a conversation with someone that went south, you have to be greater. When you're in the car and you're stuck in traffic and you're running late for work or running late for a meeting or whatever, and you want to, cuss out someone that just cut you off or, whatever, realize in that moment, you have to be greater. There's so many moments that you can release the negativity and be greater in that moment. And I think with that compounded, you become greater yourself. It starts to be contagious, and other people will start to want to do it too.
Ooh, I love it.
Those are excellent tips.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so if we wanted to buy a t-shirt and if we wanted to hear you speak and follow you, how do we find you?
So my website, and well, first of all, you can go to what we were just talking about, Pinky Moves. A lot of my new stuff will be going on there, but if you are looking for a couple quick tips on how to manifest the things that you desire, just like I did, pinkymoves.com. That's a big one. Also, you can go to my Facebook or Instagram. My Facebook is Brisa Alfaro, my first and last name, and Instagram the same. And Jason?
My Facebook and Instagram is also Jason, first name and last name, Jason Goss. The t-shirts, as of right now, we're only doing PayPal and Venmo. We do have an online store that's in the works. That will be begreatergear.com.
The great
It's begreatergear.com.
Be Greater Gear. Okay.
That's catchy.
Greater Gear. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's in the works. It'll probably be up and running maybe in about a month or so. We're getting all the buttons, everything buttoned up on it, and then we'll launch that. But for right now, just DM us and we can get a shirt out to you until we get the store up and running.
Awesome. I see new shirts in our future. I think
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And we have tanks. We have women's tanks also.
Oh, awesome.
Well,
Nice.
we'd love to support you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I hope you guys had fun. And I guess what we'll do is we'll wrap this up. So everybody watching Marriage Plus Business, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for getting to know our new friends, Brisa Alfaro and Jason Goss. Aren't they adorable? And do you have anything that you want to say to wrap
I
things
think it
up?
was great meeting the both of you. I know Jen's part of your online tribe with the
Susie?
GLP.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
and sometimes when I'm working, I'll just hear. I can't see, but I can hear. You know the
Oh yeah.
back for that. And I'm just I'm happy to be a part of this, even if though I'm working in the back in my studio, because like you say, like when the two of you are working together, when we're working together, it's harmonious. Like what she does and what I do, we understand our bounds and our
strengths.
what our strengths are and whatnot, and how we can help each other. And I think I've seen that here with the Be Greater and the Pinky Moves. I think it's awesome. So thank you for sharing that with us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And also check out Brisa Alfaro on YouTube. She's got a bunch of her stories on there. She was on the Doctor's TV show, so you can get a lot of her backstory on YouTube.
Yep, that's all. It's all on there. So if you're interested on my journey, you can see it from the beginning on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys are so adorable. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Honestly,
yeah, thank you.
So much fun. And I can't wait to see you guys again in the next adventure, right? And when are you going to drive yourselves in your little camper up to Monterey?
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
You never know. We'll be ringing the doorbell soon.
That's right.
You guys are welcome.
You're welcome.
You can see our tiny space. We'll explore your tiny space, and we'll go to the aquarium when it reopens.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
That sounds like fun. Okay, thank you so much. Mwah. Much love to you both. And we'll see you on the other side. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Be greater.
Be greater.